Okay, hey gang. Um, this topic is going to be a little bit different from what I've been doing lately. Okay, I actually got a request from somebody. So the name, obviously, of this channel is Transcending Leadership, and I know I did a leadership video a while ago. It was, leadership from the ambulance bay. This one is a little bit different because the request was, what happens if you're amongst a work group, and you get promoted to be the leader. So you were a peer, and now you're a leader. That's kind of tough. What do we do with that? That's a little tough. Um, there's a lot of challenges that come with that. So it may sound great at the beginning. Yeah, I just being promoted sounds great until you're leading people that used to be your peers. Oh God. I mean, it's the same team, it's the same people, but now the rules have changed. And, you know, I have to say everybody, well, some people may not know, but I'm warning you now, it's not your fault. Not your fault. Different rules, not your fault. Senior leadership looked at you, they saw who you are, they saw what you've done, and they decided to promote you. Um, So just keep in mind it's not your fault. So what do you do next? Well, this is a big transition, and it's a hard transition in any career or in any place where there's these kinds of relationships. And it's not because you don't know the work. It's not because you haven't done the work. It doesn't matter with that because everything else changes. The big thing is the relationships. The relationships that you had when you were peers, yeah, going out and, sitting in the break room and ranking on the leaders, oh, that supervisor, that manager, oh my God, like that. Now you're one of them. People may say, wow, now you went over to the dark side. Now you're on the dark side. You're part of them management, part of the management team. So those relationships change. Expectations. What does the team now expect of you? Because they know who you were before. Now, what do they expect of you? Power dynamics. The whole group dynamics change. One of the biggest failures for a new leader is pretending that nothing has changed with this. Um, it it starts off with who you are. Now I will say that senior leadership, when they promote somebody, a lot of times they'll look at the metrics, the KPIs, the key performance indicators. And I'll be like, yeah, this person looks great. This person exceeded all of their metrics and they did all of these things. And it's fantastic, fantastic. And they'll promote that person. But meanwhile, that person is not a leader. They don't have that personality. Some people have a personality where they can be a people leader. Other people don't. I've seen, and that works with everything, not just leadership. I've when I was on the ambulance, I remember we had one student. Guy was an EMT for a lot of years. Basically, he was a BLS guy, basic life support. Was an EMT training to become a paramedic. He was in my paramedic class, and the class that I was teaching. So he was doing a student ride along with myself and my partner. And I remember we had, yeah, it was shooting in a bar. And we go driving there and everything like that. And he's sitting in the back. And okay, we get out and the police are there and they have all their guns drawn and emergency services is there with their rifles, the whole bit. So not like you see on TV and everything. They're wearing their vests and, all of that. So I'm like, okay, dude, stay right behind me. Okay, hold on to my back, hold on to my belt. Stay right behind me, stay down. And that. And we went in, and yes, there was a whole lot of, I don't want to say all over the place. And we did this, we worked it up, we did everything. And then by the time we got back to the hospital and, okay, clean up and restock and everything, and he just took off his jacket, because we had him wear a jacket over, to identify that he was with us. He took off his jacket, gave it to me, and he said, now this is somebody who was in the paramedic class, one of my students. And he said, you know what? This isn't for me. I'll stay where I am. I'm good where I am. This isn't for me. Fantastic that he learned it then and not after he graduated and it's just him and his partner. Okay? People are meant to do things. People have the personality to do things. Other people don't. And you guys see it. Even if you're in business, you see it. You're like, wow, they made that person a manager? Oh my God, that person, stop. That they have no clue as to what they're doing. That person should be the manager. They're the ones. We see it all the time. Okay, so knowing who you are and knowing what your capabilities are is a key thing. Now, getting into relationships, it's going to go through some challenges. Obviously, the biggest challenge, relationship shift. That's challenge number one. Okay, and relationships get weird because now you're the boss. You used to hang out with them. Now you're the boss. Do I still hang out with them after work? Don't I hang out with them? I don't know. And some of them are going to test your boundaries. They may skim a little bit here, skim a little bit there, and you'll be like, as the boss, you're looking and be like, ooh, shouldn't be doing that. And they'll say, oh, come on. You did it. What? Now you're the boss. Now you can't do it. So they're going to test the boundaries a little bit. Some may just pull away from you because now you're part of the management team. I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to be near you. Some of them may quietly resent you. May not quietly, may loudly, but they may resent you. Be like, I need to get this job. Oh my God, they promoted her over me? Are you kidding me? My metrics are better. I handle customers better. I do blah, blah, blah better. So there's going to be a resentment there. Now, if you act like nothing has changed, hey, yeah, I'm the boss, but you know what? Yeah, we're one big happy family. Nothing has changed. You're going to create confusion with that. And if you go the other way, take the pendulum the other way and be like, I'm the boss. And now now you're going to create more resistance. So the shift happened, whether you like it or not. To help with the relationship, one thing is, what are your values now? Have you been living your values, your beliefs, the core beliefs, and do people know who you really are? Are you the type of person that even now, your peers, you're not the leader, your peers, but even now, you help people. They can trust you. That's the key word, trust. Because if you become a leader and keep that, that helps. Because that's number two challenge, is that your title, it gives you authority, doesn't give you trust. Trust has to be rebuilt because now the relationship is a different relationship. So the trust has to be built, and especially with the people who wanted your role, who may resent that you're now the leader. You have to build that trust, and that comes from, again, what was the type of person that you are? Are you always living your core values, your beliefs? Are you always living that? Are you transparent? Are you trustworthy? Can people come to you for help knowing that you won't push them down or push them away? Okay, so remember, you didn't win this by proving that you're smarter. You won this position by being consistent, being fair, being clear, and to build that trust, to rebuild the trust in this new relationship. That's where, again, how were you beforehand? If you were a trustful person, if you were somebody that they respected, then that will carry over. That'll carry over to where you are now, as long as you watch where your pendulum goes. To say, oh, everything's going to be the same, it's not going to be anything, or I'm the boss, that's authoritarian. Okay? Because there are different types of leadership styles. Servant leadership, laissez-faire leadership, something that we've heard a lot lately, authoritarian leadership. Are you going to be an authoritarian? All of a sudden, let that title go to your head and be like, I am the boss, and you're going to do. No, no, things like that don't work. Laissez-faire leadership, oh, it's going to happen. Don't worry. It'll be good. It'll be okay. The rainbow's going to come out and everybody's going to live okay. No. Okay. So we have to watch where that pendulum goes. And where that pendulum goes, again, is based on who you are as a person and how is this going to change. Now, you do have that, there is a little bit of that if that swing does happen, there's an overcorrection here because new leaders usually swing a little bit too far on either side. They try to stay one of the gang. Hey guys, one of the gang. Let's go out afterwards. Hey, now you're the boss. You want to hang out with us? So a new leader a lot of times will avoid accountability because they're one of the gang. So if somebody does something that needs to be coached back, you're accountable for that. You're accountable for how your team works and how your team produces. So if you're one of the gang, then you're going to avoid that pushback, that coaching, that accountability. Or, like I said, you go authoritarian, you go full boss mode. And in which case, they've just lost all trust in you. Because before, when you were peers, you were the kind of person that was trustful, you were the kind of person that was respectful. Now you're full boss mode? Oh, forget it. I'm not going to deal listening to you. You've lost all trust. So neither of those work. Remember, leadership is not about being liked or being feared. It's about being trusted. So another challenge that we get into is letting go of doing. This one stings a little bit because you know what? You were promoted because you were good at your job. Now, your job is to make other people successful. Okay, I always say the number one goal or the number one responsibility of every leader is to develop other leaders, make other people successful. Other people successful. Okay, and this is something that has to be part of your core. And it's not just, and this doesn't just happen, if you get put into a leadership position, like a supervisor or a manager, part of management. You could do this where you are right now. Right now, be a leader. And there's so many different ways. John Maxwell, 360-degree leader. What does a 360-degree leader mean? You help the people that are below you. Well, if you are a leader, they're called your direct reports. If you're peer-to-peer, it may be somebody that's, having difficulty doing a task. They never get right or they don't understand. You help. You help to lift them up, to develop them. You help to lift them up. Your peers, even leaders, supervisors, managers, we have peers. We help out each other. And we gain that trust, that relationship with each other. And our superiors. We lift up our superiors by trusting, by building the relationship. It's not if you when you become a leader, Yes, you need to build a relationship with your direct reports, but even as a direct report, build the relationship with your leader. Let your leaders know that they can trust you. And we all do it. When I was a supervisor in the call center, my managers knew part of my job. This was my mentality. My job was to make sure stuff doesn't go onto their desk. So I would handle. And they liked that. They trusted me to do that. That builds that trust. So being a 360-degree leader, you could do that where you are right now. So remember, your job is to develop other leaders. This means letting go. You're not going to sit there and say, yeah, we need to do ABC, but you know what? Do it this way, or you could do it this, or you could do it this, or let me do it. Yeah. No, let go. Know the strengths and weaknesses of your directs. The people that used to be your peers, you now look at them and say, okay, this one was really good at, doing this, and this one was really good at doing that, and that one had still has some issues doing that. So I won't give them that thing to do. Instead, I'll give it over here and I'll help that person. You are not in control. Let go of that control. Give it to them, develop them, and help them. My team knows that I will not ask them to do something that I will not do myself. I mean, there have been times we've been shorthanded and I will jump right in and I'll say, you know what, you guys do blah, blah, blah. I'll handle this. They know that. And that builds that trust. If you keep jumping in, even if they're doing, but you keep on jumping in, micromanaging, if you keep on jumping in to prove your value, you're actually blocking the growth. You're not helping them to grow. And again, repeat after me. The number one priority, the number one responsibility, I'll do that. Number one responsibility of every leader is to develop other leaders. Say it again. The number one responsibility of every leader is to develop other leaders. Okay, so now moving on to the next challenge is when somebody doesn't do the right thing and you got to give them feedback. You got to give them coaching. Well, remember, we were peers. Now I'm the supervisor. Now I have to coach back. It's going to be uncomfortable. Oh my God. You are going to have heartburn. Your stomach is going to turn. Avoiding it may feel easier. Having that laissez-faire attitude and being like, well, you know what? Yeah, okay, they did this. It was kind of, but you know what? It'll probably blow over. It's no big deal. No, you have to do something because silence creates resentment. And it not only creates resentment with the individual, but everybody else that's watching, the rest of the team, because that negative will grow. And as that negative grows, it spreads to the rest of the team. And now what happens to your trust? What happens to the trust that you're trying to build with these new relationships? Not there. So you have to give feedback. Feedback is clear. Feedback is always respectful. Show respect for the person. Explain it. Be clear about what happened, what they did that wasn't the right thing to do. What can they do next time so that this way it doesn't happen again? One thing that I've always had, even when I was working as a paramedic and teaching and everything, was everything. I always ask myself, what can I learn from this? What can I learn from this? So remember, when you're in a situation, things are going on, right? Things are going on. And there's emotions in there and there's everything hitting you all over the place. When you just stop and say, okay, what could I learn from this? That psychologically, that pulls you out of the emotion, pulls you out of the chaos. And what does it do now? Now you're watching a movie. Now you can sit there and be like, oh, okay, well, I could have done that better. Yeah, because that led to that. So if I did that better, then it may have helped out with this, So if everything you do is, what can I learn from this? Keep that in your head, as well as everything is a teaching moment. Look at all of the most successful people throughout history. They're the ones that have failed the most. Learn from the failures. Help your people that were your peers, help them to learn from their failure. That's giving feedback. That's showing them respect. That, listen, and you know what you did. Why did you do it? Let's understand it. What could I have learned from this? And you know what? How could we do it better? And that's fine. You may have failed in this, and you know what? Okay, you failed doing this thing. Let's make sure that it doesn't happen again. What have you learned from this? And let's move on. So this way we know what it happened. Yeah, we know if a situation like that starts to happen, we know how to get out of it. So help your person. Be respectful on that. Now, always remember that leaders name the change. Okay, and this is also relates to the trust and being transparent with your people, with your directs. Be transparent with them. Name it. Name it. There's a change that happened. Don't just say, okay, I'm the boss. Let's move on. Yes, we're going on and I'm the boss. Name it. Again, we have to rebuild the trust in those relationships. Our roles have changed, obviously. The roles have changed, and I really care about our relationship. And I mean, I'm accountable for the results of this team. So it's new for me, and I'm learning this, and I really would appreciate any input that you have. If there's anything, that you have a concern about, please let me know about it. That's one thing that I have always said to all of my bosses, whenever I got a new boss, was always, that I feel that part of my job is, if I have a concern about something, I will let you know. That's my job, is to let you know if I have a concern. But, but, it's not going to be a gripe session. I'll let you know what my concern is, and I will let you know the reasons why I have the concern, as well as my resolution to it. All that I ask is that you sincerely and actively just listen to me. And that's it. And that's it. So say that to your people. If you have a concern, by all means, come to me. We'll talk it out. We'll see what's going on. We'll work on this together. If things change, anything changes. Even to this day, my team, my God, they've been my directs. I have, my team has a tenure like 9, 10 years. They've been with me. But you know what? When business changes, when things have to realign, when processes have to change, it's like, okay, gang, let's all get together. I know you guys are the ones that are doing this every single day. So I want your input on this. This is where we have to go. Because that's another thing. There's only one why you do something, but there are a whole lot of hows it gets done. Okay? This is where we need to go. This is the end result. What can we do? How can we do? And the team helps put together the process. And the team helps build the process. And the team takes ownership. And that builds the trust that the team has with you, because you care and you respect their work. You respect them. So this transition, it's hard because, again, leadership is uncomfortable. Avoiding discomfort breaks teams up, so you have to lean into that. It makes you a much better leader. And there are so many things that you could read, that you could learn. Like I said, John Maxwell, Dale Carnegie, Les Giblin, all of these people, Stephen Covey, focus-centered leadership, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, 21 Essential Laws of Leadership. I'm 360 degrees. There are so many things. Dive into it. Even now, before you get that title, even now, be a leader where you are. And, just grow from there. Just grow from there. So, if something like this resonates with you, like I said, this topic, Susie, thanks, Suze. She asked me about this, and wanted me to go into it. So if things like this, if you want me to do more, just like, subscribe, comment on this. If you want me to do more leadership stuff, absolutely. Uh, you guys see from the videos pretty much what my wheelhouse is. Let me know where you want to go, because this is your channel too. Your subscribers, this is what your channel is as well. And by all means, invite other people on. If you feel that there are people that may need to hear what I have to say, then by all means, send them on. And I'd love to hear your comments. So again, like and subscribe to the channel. And remember, wear your life gloriously. Like the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, wear your life gloriously. Because up until the last minute, future is what we make it. Bye, guys.